Coming up with a terrific idea can really change the world, but what if someone else takes credit for your hard work?
A new crime docudrama called Stolen Dough takes a look at the journey of Anthony Mangiello, an Italian-American who invented stuffed crust pizza, yum, at 18 years old, but only to have his patent stolen by Pizza Hut. Joining us to continue the conversation is director and screenwriter Stefano Da Fre. Before we get into the top 5 stolen product ideas, can you first explain how products are stolen from original inventors?
This is a great question, and I'm so glad to be with you guys this morning. So the first thing is, when you start off a product, you always want to negotiate on a patent pending idea, because when a patent is actually available and is approved, it then becomes public information. So it exists in the world, exists in the ether. So when you're a young person and you're going in to negotiate with companies or try to basically sell an idea, you want to sign an NDA agreement, a non-disclosure agreement. And many of these examples don't have that situation that we'll talk about. But those are the two most important things to protect you.
Some really important steps that you gotta take first during that process. So, stuffed crust pizza made number 5 on the top stolen product ideas list. So walk us through the story behind that stolen dough and what Mangiello actually went through with this.
Well, what we know is that a few important key points, and stolen dough goes through all the legal depositions. We use real footage, the actual lawyers, the actual defendants, the real individuals that are in this case. And we go through the patent, of course. And what we know is that it was approved in 1987. Anthony approaches Pizza Hut 2 times. They go into negotiation. They're interested in the product and write letters back and forth and finally say, actually, you know what, we'll pass. 6 months later, they copy the exact patent and launch it nationwide.
Yeah.
So this is, obviously a situation where Anthony can't even believe his mind. And then it turns out at that time to be the biggest lawsuit in food history, a $1 billion lawsuit.
Wow, I would have been so
Mad.
frustrated.
Furious,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. And at just at such a young age, trying to just launch your passion project. Okay, Stefano, we have to talk about some of the other products on this list because they're shocking as well. Can you tell us what other brands made the list and which one did you find the most shocking?
Well, listen, I'm going to give your viewers a whole bunch of interesting ones. First of all, one that we played as a kid or maybe got into a lot of family arguments with, Monopoly. Monopoly, often credited with Charles Darrow and the Parker brothers, was actually from Elizabeth Maggie, and she had put it together in 1903. It was called, I think that it was called the Landlord's Game, and this was a game in 1903 that was, she had met Charles Darrow, and then it was stolen and then sold to the Parker brothers, who then many years later acknowledged Elizabeth's contribution to it.
Wow.
The other one is Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, often attributed to an individual called Jasper Daniels, but it was actually an enslaved, a black African-American who was involved, Nathan, they called him Nearest Green, Nathan Nearest Green, who was an individual who was friends with Mr. Jack Daniels, who showed him how to distill with those specific flavors, and as we know, turned into a worldwide brand and missed out on a cut of that amount of money and also the recognition. Third is a very famous one that's been covered in David Fincher's film, The Social Network. We're familiar with it. We use Instagram, we use Facebook. It is obviously the story of Mark Zuckerberg, who was hired by Harvard Connection by the Winklevoss twins and was hired to basically develop it, uses the same mainframes, the same sort of concepts, and then runs off to do his own company. They eventually settled this case in 2008 for $65 million. Fourth one, which is also covered in cinema, is McDonald's. Heartbreaking story of the McDonald's brothers. We know that Ray Kroc did not invent McDonald's, but he was the founder of the lucrative business of franchising. He eventually settled and basically bought the ground from under them. And why do we say the ground from under them? Because Ray Kroc developed this method of buying land and then renting the land to franchisees and then getting a percentage also of the revenue. That is still the business model that McDonald's uses today. The McDonald brothers ended up with $1 million for their multi-billion, maybe $trillion idea.
Oh my gosh. This docudrama just seems fascinating. So how can people watch Stolen Dough? Tell our viewers about that.
Guys, you can see it on Apple TV. You can see it on Amazon Prime. And I believe this month it will be available also on Tubi TV, which features ads and however you want to see it. So Amazon, Apple TV, and Tubi TV. And you can also go on stolendough.com to get more information about the actual plaintiff and the real characters that were involved in the story. I'm excited for you to see it. It's for everyone. Who doesn't love a story about pizza? True crime about pizza. And, it's good for the whole family and intriguing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to get angry while watching it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And hungry too, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And hungry too. Yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Maybe want a little Jack Daniels on the side too when I'm watching it. Thank you so much.
Congrats on the film.
Thank you,
yes. Yeah.